Here's a question that might change the way you garden forever. How much of your garden are you actually using? If you're like most gardeners, there are corners, patches, and entire beds that sit completely empty, not because you forgot about them, but because they don't get enough sun. You've probably walked past them and thought, nothing will grow there anyway. But what if that was completely wrong? What if those shady, forgotten spots were actually hiding some of the best growing conditions in your entire garden? Stay with me, because in this video I'm going to show you 15 vegetables that thrive, and I mean genuinely thrive, in zero direct sunlight. And by the end, you're going to look at your garden in a completely different way. Here's exactly what you're going to learn today. I'm going to walk you through 15 vegetables that you can grow in areas of your garden that receive little to no direct sunlight, places like north-facing beds, spots under trees, shaded corners near fences or walls. I'll tell you which vegetables to grow, why they actually do better without harsh sun, and how to get them started with as little effort as possible. No complicated techniques. No expensive equipment. Just simple, practical gardening that works, even in the most awkward parts of your outdoor space. By the end of this video, those empty corners are going to start looking a lot more like opportunity. So let's get into it. If you've ever felt like your garden just isn't producing as much as you'd like, or that you're working really hard for not much reward, you're not alone. Most of us were taught that vegetables need full sun. 6 hours minimum, they say. So we crowd everything into the one sunny patch and leave the rest unused. Here at Stress-Free Garden Living, we believe gardening should be simple, rewarding, and low effort, especially if you're just starting out or you simply want results without the stress. And one of the easiest ways to get more from your garden is to stop ignoring the shade. So let me show you how. Before we get to the full list, I want to tease you with something. One of the vegetables on this list actually produces better quality leaves in the shade than it ever would in direct sun. In fact, putting it in a sunny spot is one of the most common mistakes gardeners make with this particular plant. I'll tell you exactly which one it is, and why, when we get to the leafy greens section. Keep watching, because that one alone could transform a problem area in your garden. First, let's define what we mean by zero direct sunlight. We're talking about areas in your garden that receive less than 3 hours of direct sun per day. This includes spots that are shaded by fences, walls, large trees, or the shadow cast by your house. It doesn't mean pitch black. There's usually still plenty of ambient light, what gardeners call a dappled shade, or indirect light. And for the right plants, that's absolutely enough. Now let's get into the vegetables. I've grouped them into 3 categories to make this really easy to follow. Category 1, leafy greens. Leafy greens are hands down the best group of vegetables to grow in low light. And here's the reason why: most leafy greens are what we call the cool season crops. They evolved in conditions where they weren't getting blasted by intense sunlight all day. Too much direct sun actually causes them to bolt. That means they shoot up, flower, and turn bitter almost overnight. In the shade, they slow down, stay tender, and produce flavorful leaves for far longer. So the shade is actually doing you a favor. Vegetable 1, spinach. Spinach is one of the most shade-tolerant vegetables you can grow. It prefers cool conditions and lower light, which means shaded beds are practically perfect for it. Grow it in rich, moisture-retentive compost, sow seeds directly into the soil about an inch apart, and within 6 to 8 weeks you'll be harvesting fresh leaves. The visual result is beautiful, a dense, dark green carpet of leaves in a spot where nothing used to grow. Vegetable 2, lettuce. And here's the one I promised you earlier. Lettuce is actually better in the shade. When it gets too much sun, it bolts fast and turns bitter. In a shaded spot, lettuce stays tender, keeps producing for longer, and you get far more harvests from each plant. Sow seeds on the surface, keep the soil moist, and thin the seedlings as they grow. It really is that simple. Vegetable 3, kale. Kale is incredibly hardy and far more shade-tolerant than most people realize. It won't grow as quickly in low light as it would in full sun, but it will grow, steadily and reliably. The leaves also tend to be more tender when grown in shade, which makes them much nicer to eat raw. Plant it in deep soil with plenty of compost mixed in, and water regularly. Vegetable 4, Swiss chard. Swiss chard is one of the most forgiving vegetables in any garden. It handles shade, it handles varying temperatures, and it's virtually unstoppable once it's established. The stems come in stunning colors, red, yellow, white, which means it looks beautiful even in a shaded corner. Cut leaves from the outside of the plant and it just keeps growing back. Vegetable 5, rocket, arugula. Rocket loves shade. In direct sun it bolts almost instantly and the leaves turn intensely peppery. In a shaded spot, it grows steadily, the flavor is more balanced, and you can harvest from it for weeks. Scatter seeds loosely, water lightly, and it practically looks after itself. Okay, we're just getting started. We've covered leafy greens, 5 vegetables that don't just tolerate shade, they actively prefer it. Coming up next, I'm going to show you root vegetables and herbs that do exactly the same. Including one herb that almost everyone grows in the wrong spot. Let's keep going. Category 2, root vegetables. Root vegetables surprise most gardeners. We tend to think of carrots or radishes as sun-loving crops, but the truth is, they are primarily growing underground. The leaves above the soil can manage perfectly well with lower light levels, they just need enough energy to fuel what's happening below the surface. Carrot vegetable 6, radishes. Radishes are one of the fastest growing vegetables in any garden, and they handle shade well. From seed to harvest in as little as 3 to 4 weeks. Plant them about an inch apart in loose, well-drained soil. They don't need babying. The key with radishes in shade is to make sure your soil is really loose and easy to work with. A hard, compacted bed will slow them down. Carrot vegetable 7, beetroot. Beetroot is wonderfully adaptable. It prefers cooler conditions and will tolerate a shaded spot with ease. You get the bonus of being able to eat both the root and the leaves. The young greens taste brilliant in salads. Sow seeds an inch deep, water consistently, and thin them out as they grow. It's one of the most satisfying vegetables to pull from the ground. Carrot vegetable 8, carrots. Carrots are a slower crop, but they absolutely will grow in partial shade. The trick with carrots is soil preparation. They need deep, loose, stone-free soil to form properly. If your shaded bed has shallow or rocky soil, grow a shorter variety. There are plenty of stubby, round-rooted carrots specifically designed for this. Sow thinly, thin early, and be patient. Carrot vegetable 9, turnips. Turnips are incredibly underrated. They grow quickly, handle shade comfortably, and are one of the easiest root vegetables to manage as a beginner. Sow seeds directly, keep the bed weeded and watered, and you'll have turnips ready to harvest in around 6 to 8 weeks. Carrot vegetable 10, peas. Peas are technically a legume, but they earn their spot in this category because they do beautifully in partial shade, especially in warmer months when a little shade actually helps them stay cool. They also fix nitrogen in the soil, meaning they improve the bed for the next crop you plant there. Train them up a simple stick or trellis and they'll climb happily without any fuss. Before we move to herbs, I want to flag the single most common mistake I see beginners make with shade gardening, and it causes more failed crops than almost anything else. Overwatering. Here's why this happens. Shaded soil doesn't dry out as quickly as sunny soil. The sun isn't evaporating the moisture at the same rate. So if you're used to watering your sunny beds every day, and you apply that same routine to your shaded beds, you're going to waterlog the roots. The fix is simple. Stick your finger an inch into the soil before you water. If it still feels damp, leave it alone. Check again tomorrow. Your shaded beds will likely only need watering every 2 to 3 days, sometimes less in cooler weather. This one change alone can dramatically improve your results. Category 3, herbs. Herbs are where shade gardening really becomes exciting, because so many of the most useful, everyday herbs prefer lower light conditions. People often grow herbs in the sunniest spots and then wonder why they bolt, turn woody, or lose their flavor so fast. Herb vegetable 11, parsley. Parsley is a brilliant shade herb. It's slow to get going, but once established it produces abundantly and handles low light with ease. Grow it in rich compost, keep it consistently watered, and snip from the outside leaves regularly. Fresh parsley available right outside your door, from a spot that used to sit empty. Herb vegetable 12, coriander. Coriander is notoriously tricky in full sun. It bolts almost immediately when it gets hot and bright. In a shaded, cooler spot, it grows far more slowly and produces lush, flavorful leaves for much longer. It's genuinely one of the best herbs to grow in the shade. Sow a small pinch of seeds every few weeks for a continuous supply. Herb vegetable 13, mint. Mint actually prefers shade. It's one of those plants that will grow almost anywhere, but it truly thrives when it's protected from harsh midday sun. Grow it in a pot if possible. Mint spreads aggressively and will take over a bed if left unchecked. Keep it contained, keep it watered, and you'll have unlimited fresh mint for months. Herb vegetable 14, chives. Chives are incredibly easy and very shade tolerant. They come back year after year, they barely need attention, and they produce continuously from spring right through to autumn. Snip them with scissors and they regrow within days. Plant them once and benefit from them for years. Sorrel. Most people have never heard of it, but gardeners in the know absolutely love it. Sorrel is a leafy herb vegetable that tastes like lemon, fresh, sharp, and incredibly versatile in the kitchen. It loves shade. It loves cool, damp conditions. And here's the most remarkable thing about it. It's a perennial. You plant it once, and it comes back every single year without you lifting a finger. Think about what that means for those shady corners. You prepare the bed, you plant the sorrel, and from that point forward, every spring, fresh leaves appear, on their own, with no replanting, no effort, no cost. If I had to pick one plant that perfectly captures the idea of effortless, stress-free gardening, sorrel would be it. Find it online, at a garden center, or grow it from seed. Put it in your shadiest spot and leave it to do its thing. You will not regret it. So here's what I want you to do right now, or the next time you're outside. Walk your garden. Not just the sunny spots you always go to. Walk the whole thing. Look at the shaded corners, the north-facing beds, the patch beside the fence you've been ignoring. Because now you know what can grow there. Spinach, lettuce, kale, Swiss chard, rocket, radishes, beetroot, carrots, turnips, peas, parsley, coriander, mint, chives, and sorrel. 15 vegetables, all ready and willing to grow in the spots you thought were useless. More growing space means more harvests. More harvests means more food, more savings, and honestly, a much more rewarding garden experience. You don't need a bigger garden. You just need to use the one you have more wisely. And today, you've taken a big step towards doing exactly that. If you found this video helpful, please do hit the like button. It genuinely helps other gardeners find this content and makes a real difference to this channel. And if you want more simple, stress-free gardening tips like this, make sure you subscribe to Stress-Free Garden Living. Every week we share practical ideas to help you grow more with less effort, no complicated techniques, no expensive gear, just gardening that actually works. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 15 vegetables are you going to try first? And do you have a shaded spot in your garden that you've been ignoring? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single one and I'd love to hear about your garden. Until next time, keep it simple, keep it stress-free, and happy growing.